Lu Baoyu glanced at the broken bowl and the tattered bills clutched tightly in her hand, falling into silence. He took out a 20 yuan bill from his pocket, stuffed it into the little beggar's hand and said calmly, "I want to sleep here for 3 nights." The little beggar was stunned. She looked at the bill in her hand, then at Lu Baoyu, who continued to rest with his eyes closed. After hesitating for a long while, she still tucked the money into her clothes and sat down against the wall opposite to Lu Baoyu. "Oh, okay." She put the broken bowl aside, piled the collected firewood and weeds together, and lit a bonfire with a candle, briefly dispelling the winter night's cold. Then she took out a stack of tattered blankets from the hole behind her, wrapped them around herself. In the icy wind, only her rosy face was exposed, her eyes curiously examining Lu Baoyu across from her. Lu Baoyu closed his eyes again. "You're not a beggar, are you?" After a while the little beggar couldn't help but ask. "No," Lu Baoyu answered flatly. "I didn't think so. Your clothes are very clean. Did you run away from home?" "No." "Then were you kidnapped?" "No." "Then why are you here?" The little beggar asked, puzzled. "You have money, why don't you stay at a hotel?" The little beggar was somewhat dissatisfied about having her den occupied. Lu Baoyu didn't answer. His right hand in his pocket silently rubbed against his last 10 yuan bill and 2 coins, feeling somewhat helpless. He didn't have much money to begin with and had almost used it all up on his way to Beijing, leaving only 33 yuan in total. While he didn't need money during his time at the training camp, once he left for the holiday, 30-some yuan wouldn't get him far in Beijing. Borrow money from other recruits? Freeload off them? Absolutely not. Lu Baoyu was no stranger to hardship, and this little difficulty meant nothing to him. Staying under the bridge and using the remaining money to buy some steamed buns or a bowl of noodles would get him through these 3 days. Plus, this place was far from the city center, very quiet, where he could continue training and practice his sword techniques. He could handle having no place to stay and enduring the cold wind, but training couldn't be skipped for even 1 day. The little beggar, seeing Lu Baoyu's silence, shrugged and turned her gaze to the black case beside him, blinking curiously. "What's in this case?" Lu Baoyu remained silent. Seeing that he had no intention of responding, the little beggar muttered something, quietly curled up into a ball and began to fall asleep by the fire. The long night stretched on. Seeing the little beggar fall into deep sleep, Lu Baoyu tucked his hands into his sleeves, stared at the bonfire for a moment and gradually drifted off to sleep. A little beggar and a one-eyed youth both fell asleep by the fire. After some time, a cold, strange wind blew through, instantly extinguishing the dancing flames in the bridge tunnel. An eerie grinding sound came from the darkness, as grating as fingernails on a chalkboard. Lu Baoyu's eye snapped open as he turned toward the darkness beside the tunnel, one hand gripping the handle of the black case. Seemingly sensing the cold presence, the little beggar also opened her drowsy eyes. She looked up to see the silhouette of a beast being slowly outlined in the shadows beside the tunnel. It was a blood-red wolf dog with 7 eyes, its body almost taller than the little beggar herself. Its blood-colored fur danced in the wind, low growls emanating from its throat, its 7 eyes opening and closing in an unsettling pattern. The little beggar cried out in shock, trying to scramble to her feet but collapsed weakly to the ground. "Hey! Run!" The little beggar shouted at Lu Baoyu, who was still leaning against the wall, while she dragged herself backward. Lu Baoyu's eye narrowed, but he didn't respond. He simply stood up with the black case, pressed a finger on the handle and a straight sword sprung out. Lu Baoyu gripped it firmly. The one-eyed youth, holding the sword, stepped over the dying embers and positioned himself between the little beggar and the 7-eyed wolf dog, a crimson light igniting in his eye. "Just a pool-level mystery," Lu Baoyu muttered, about to strike, when he suddenly remembered Lin Chia's warning before leaving the training camp. His gaze fell on the terrified little beggar behind him. "Hey," Lu Baoyu said calmly, "close your eyes." "Huh. Close them." "Oh." Lu Baoyu's figure blocked the little beggar's view of the wolf dog. She sat on the ground looking away from Lu Baoyu and obediently closed her eyes. Seeing this, Lu Baoyu turned back, walking toward the 7-eyed wolf dog with his sword raised, a cold smile curling his lips. Not a bad training partner. Atop a tall building, Chin Han watched the city below, where patches of shadows were silently expanding. Just as he hesitated and was about to step forward, Xiaoping's voice drifted over. No need to rush. The ones showing themselves now are just small fry, those young people can handle them. The real big shots are still hiding in the shadows, observing. They're your targets. Qin Han slowly withdrew his extended right foot. At that moment, a patch of night opened in the void behind them, and a figure wearing a deep red cloak, carrying a black case, slowly approached. Xiaoping raised an eyebrow, turning to look. Seeing the familiar face, he smiled. You came too. Got bored after dinner, thought I'd join in the fun. Lin Chia smiled slightly. Besides, I'm quite curious about the identity of Beijing City Team's new captain. His gaze fell on Qin Han in his military coat and he paused slightly. Qin Han, seeing Lin Chia, also froze in place. After they stared at each other for a while, Lin Chia finally spoke in surprise. Qin Han. It's me. Qin Han smiled helplessly, surprised. Lin Chia examined him carefully for a while before nodding. Indeed surprising, and the aura about you. From the moment Lin Chia first saw Qin Han, he noticed that Qin Han's aura had undergone a complete transformation. The quality he emanated reminded Lin Chia of another person. Or rather, another god. Fengdu Emperor. Lin Chia asked in astonishment. You became his proxy? How did this happen? 2 years ago when Anta County returned from the mist, I met Uncle Li. Qin Han's eyes filled with reminiscence. I was dying of fever at the time and he used some power to heal my body, then told me everything. After that, I could feel something different inside me. Later I learned that it was Uncle Li's divine domain. In Qin Han's mind, that familiar rough face appeared again, along with the conversation echoing in his ears. I knew you would definitely become an excellent night watchman. I never misjudge people. I'm too weak. All I can do is stand behind them and watch helplessly as they fight while seriously injured. You still have a long time to grow. One day, you will shoulder the future of the night watchman as a senior. At the time, these words seemed like mere comfort from Li Diyang, but now, upon careful reflection, their meaning had completely changed. After Anta County's return, some time passed before commanders were actively sought out Squad 332 and met with Qin Han. At that time, Qin Han didn't know what the power within him represented, until after talking with Suiqing he realized he had become the proxy of the Emperor of Fengdu. After Li Diyang's departure, that period of guarding Anta County alone was both Qin Han's training and Li Diyang's test for him. And Qin Han proved through his actions that Li Diyang had not misjudged him. 2 years. Lin Chia felt the Klein-level aura emanating from Qin Han, and contemplation appeared in his eyes. Using 2 years to rise from the bottom-ranked pool-level night watchman to Klein level was an astounding speed, which also showed just how much effort Li Diyang had invested in him. Of course, if Lin Chia hadn't been sleeping in Japan for 2 years, he would probably have broken through to this level as well. How's it going? After catching up with Qin Han, Lin Chia turned to ask Xiaoping. Haven't started yet, Xiaoping smiled. Right now your students are undergoing their trials. Lin Chia closed his eyes and spread out his spiritual force. At his current level, his spiritual perception could almost cover all of Beijing, instantly detecting the movements of every new recruit. Among the more than 600 new recruits in Beijing, nearly 200 had either actively discovered or passively encountered mysteries. However, these first emerging mysteries were mostly small fry below river level, and since most recruits were in groups of 2 or 3, they weren't in danger even when facing these mysteries. Had I known you were coming back, I should have called you directly to help, Xiaoping smiled. With you here, monitoring the whole city would be easier. Lin Chia's mortal divine domain possessed wide-range spiritual perception ability, which wasn't a secret among the night watchman's upper ranks. Well, I'm here now, aren't I? Lin Chia smiled while monitoring the entire city. Is Xinjin back too? Yes. Did she ask about me? She did. Instructor Yuan told her you were away on business and couldn't return for now. Xiaoping nodded slightly, his gaze returning to the silent city before him. After a long while he let out a deep sigh. If everything goes smoothly, we can make it back for a reunion dinner before New Year's Eve tomorrow. Qin Han, join us then? It's a good chance for everyone to get to know you. Qin Han hesitated for a moment, then nodded. All right. Oh. Lin Chia blinked, looked up at the sky and caught a falling snowflake. It's snowing. Qin Han and Xiaopinga looked up simultaneously. Under the dark night sky, snowflakes fell from the thick clouds, drifting with the cold evening wind, scattering over the sleeping city and decorating the empty streets. The night sky was vast and snowflakes danced. Beijing's first snow has arrived. Xiaopinga caught a snowflake, a smile curling at his lips. Perfect timing. Gradually the falling snow became larger and more dense. A heavy snowfall, hurriedly catching the tail end of the year, was silently brewing in the thick clouds. Under the snow-filled night sky, 3 figures overlooked the sleeping city below in silence. The scattered snowflakes landed on their shoulders, gradually turning them into 3 snowmen, like guardian deities of this city. Among the heavy snow, even Lin Chia himself hadn't realized that he who was once protected by 3 snowmen in Changnan had now become a guardian deity for countless lives. Clang! The blade of the short sword slashed across the back of the rotting figure, and a strong stench rushed forth. The figure roared in anger, suddenly turning its head, its blurry hand striking directly at Feng Mo's face. Feng Mo nimbly jumped several times on the ground, avoiding the ghostly green claws, her eyes fixed on the injured rotting figure before her, holding the short sword reversed under her fist like a wild cat ready to fight. After being attacked twice by Feng Mo, the rotting figure seemed to have been angered, abandoning its attempt to flee and instead glaring at Feng Mo angrily. It stretched out both hands, its sharp fingertips suddenly piercing into its own heart. As the fingertips sank deeper, streams of ghostly green liquid accompanied by an extreme stench flowed out from its heart, rapidly spreading across the empty street. Feng Mo's brows furrowed as an unprecedented feeling of nausea surged up. She cut off a corner of her clothing with her knife to plug her nose, then shifted her form and continued charging toward the rotting figure. As the green liquid spread, wisps of white smoke rose from the cement road, accompanied by sizzling sounds of corrosion. Feng Mo's eyes narrowed as she forcefully stepped on the ground, her form lightly leaping up from the road to land on top of a tall streetlight. Using the momentum to turn her body, she slashed directly at the rotting figure's face from above. Under the dim streetlight, a flash of blade light passed in an instant. The blade's edge cut through the rotting figure's neck, green blood gushing forth. Feng Mo seemed prepared for this, her toes touching the center of the liquid puddle on the ground before she rose lightly again, landing dozens of meters away in the blink of an eye. That moment of contact left a hole corroded in her shoe tip, but didn't harm her toes. As the rotting figure's head fell, this pool-level mystery completely lost its vitality. Just as Feng Mo breathed a sigh of relief and prepared to remove the cloth from her nose, a cold gleam flashed out from the alley beside her. A second mystery? Feng Mo's pupils suddenly contracted. Relying on her superior dynamic vision and reaction speed, she rapidly retreated backward, avoiding her vital points. Even so, that cold gleam still cut open her arm, creating a deep bloody gash. Blood sprayed out, splattering onto the cement ground. A strong exotic fragrance spread out with Feng Mo at its center. "This is bad," Feng Mo's expression immediately sank. The moment this strange fragrance appeared, all darkness within a 10-mile radius around Feng Mo began to surge. In the pitch-black alley, a distorted mannequin, crawling rapidly on the ground like a spider, suddenly raised its head. The black wig covered its hollow eyes, and its neck twisted eerily 90 degrees in one direction. It remained frozen in the deathly silent alley for a long time, as if thinking, as if puzzled. Finally, it turned its body around and, like a humanoid cockroach, crawled rapidly toward the source of the strange fragrance. In the dark classroom, on the desk, the pencil hovering above the white paper continued drawing distorted lines, sometimes making circles, sometimes crosses, as if an invisible schizophrenic patient was standing by the desk, chaotically drawing something. Meanwhile, that spine-chilling voice continued to echo in the classroom. "If that man is dead, please draw a circle on the paper. If that man is dead, please draw a circle on the paper. Plunge, plunge. You are my past life, I am your present." Suddenly the voice stopped abruptly. The pencil hovering above the white paper also froze. So fragrant, want to eat it, want to eat it." The voice sounded again, but this time the pencil didn't continue drawing on the paper. Instead, it eerily floated up, its tip sharp as a blade, suddenly crashed through the classroom window and flew toward a certain direction. Dark alleys, empty street corners, cabinets in old houses, worn-out trash bins, the shadowy sides of street lamps. One pair of eyes after another opened, like dying people who had been thirsting in the desert for over 10 days, greedily looking toward the direction of the strange fragrance. The previously peaceful street became eerily restless. On the high-rise building. Something's wrong. Xiaopinga seemed to notice something. The mysteries, in one area, seemed to show signs of large-scale frenzy. It's near the commercial street. Lin Chia sensed the distant situation while frowning. How could this happen? Through his spiritual perception, Lin Chia clearly saw the scene of Fong Mo killing the rotting mystery, but getting wounded by a second mystery's sneak attack. He had detected the approach of the second pool-level mystery early on but didn't intervene. The main reason was that he believed with Fong Mo's innate abilities, she could dodge this attack, and any minor injuries sustained in the process were necessary steps in training. Everyone grows gradually through constant fighting and getting wounded. If he protected these new recruits like delicate flower buds, never letting them get hurt, they would never truly grow. But the chain reaction produced after Fong Mo was injured and bleeding was somewhat unexpected. If he hadn't guessed wrong, the mysteries in that area were agitated because they were attracted by Fong Mo's blood. But why would her blood attract them? True, Fong Mo carried some of Lin Chia's miracle bloodline, but Lin Chia knew very well that even blood containing mortal divine domain shouldn't have this effect. Otherwise he would have been torn to pieces by rampaging mysteries back in Songnan. A large number of low-level mysteries are heading in one direction, and some high-level mysteries hidden in that area are also stirring. It seems there are also 2 Klein-level mysteries chasing in that direction. Those high-level mysteries are acting earlier than expected. Xiaopinga closed his eyes, seemingly sensing the flow of mystery auras, and said. After a moment he opened his eyes and looked gravely at Qin Han beside him. It's time for you to act. Qin Han seemed to have been waiting for this moment. His right hand rested on the sword hilt at his waist. 2 gleams of light flashed in his eyes as he stepped into the void at the edge of the building. The next moment that figure wearing a military coat disappeared from the spot. Under the bridge. A blood-stained straight sword was slowly pulled from the body of the blood-red wolf dog. Lu Baozhu stood beside the pool of blood, expressionlessly wiping away the blood on his cheek, as that eye glowing with crimson light gradually returned to normal. Dead already? How boring. Lu Baozhu returned the straight sword to its black case and turned to look behind him. The little beggar girl was still sitting obediently on the ground, eyes tightly shut, her pale face still trembling slightly from fear. Lu Baozhu was about to tell her to open her eyes, but then seemed to think of something and silently closed his mouth. He first dragged the blood-red wolf dog's corpse and threw it into a pile of wild grass nearby, then used stream water to wash away the blood on his face, cleaned up the ground under the bridge, and only after ensuring there wasn't a trace of blood in sight did he sit back down by the extinguished campfire and speak leisurely. You can open your eyes now. Hearing this voice, the little beggar girl swallowed and, covering her face with both hands, slowly opened her eyes. She worriedly looked around and, not seeing any trace of the blood-red wolf dog, finally relaxed. She stayed in place for a long while before returning to the campfire's edge. Where did that monster go? What monster? Lu Baozhu casually struck a match to light a flame, rekindling the extinguished campfire. The faint firelight danced in front of him, illuminating one corner of his stern face. That big dog with lots of eyes. You saw wrong, there was no such thing, Lu Baozhu replied flatly. But... Shut up. Oh. The little beggar girl hugged her knees dejectedly. After getting the campfire fully lit, Lu Baozhu stood up from the ground and looked at the dim sky in the distance, his eyes flickering with hints of excitement. So Beijing still has hidden mysteries. Looks like these 3 days of vacation won't be so boring after all. He muttered to himself, picked up the black case beside him, and walked toward the dim city outside the bridge. Seeing Lu Baozhu get up to leave, the little beggar girl was slightly stunned. Where are you going? Going for a walk. Lu Baozhu turned back to look at her. After hesitating for a moment, he walked back. Close your eyes. Close them again? Close your eyes. All right. After the little beggar girl covered her eyes, Lu Baozhu reached out and touched several large rocks beside the bridge, and an invisible divine domain quickly spread out. Those large rocks shuddered, and from the solid rock crevices, suddenly split open fierce mouths, while at the same time pairs of crimson eyes emerged from the rock surfaces, like a group of stone demons standing guard beside the bridge. "You can open your eyes now," Lu Baozhu said after finishing all this. Just as the little beggar girl opened her eyes, Lu Baozhu tossed a 10 yuan bill into her hands and turned to walk into the darkness, his voice drifting back. "When it's daylight, use the money to buy 2 boxes of instant noodles. I'll be back tomorrow night to eat." The little beggar girl looked at Lu Baozhu disappearing into the darkness, then at the crumpled 10 yuan bill in her hand, standing dazed in place. Crack. In the empty street, the streetlights on both sides made a loud pop and went out simultaneously. Darkness swallowed the road and a cold air spread rapidly. In the deathly silence, only scattered snowflakes fell soundlessly. Fang Mo gritted his teeth, took off the shirt under his down jacket, and roughly bandaged the wound on his arm to stop the bleeding. He held the short knife in reverse grip, vigilantly scanning his surroundings. He sniffed the air and his expression turned extremely ugly. At the same time, at least 7 or 8 mysteries were active on this street and all were approaching him. He had heard Li Jinjin say that Beijing had many mysteries, but he never imagined there would be this many. What's worse, he was injured and bleeding at this time. In the dark city, his presence was as conspicuous as the sun to the mysteries. Fang Mo. On the other side of the road, Ding Chongfeng along with the Su Yuan and Su Zhi siblings quickly rushed over. Fang Mo's pupils contracted slightly as he stepped back, shouting at the 3, "Don't come over." Ding Chongfeng and the others were stunned. There are many life fluctuations approaching nearby. Su Yuan closed her eyes and carefully sensed for a moment. Judging from the wave intensity, they should be mysteries. 3 at pool level, 4 at river level, 1 at sea level, and 1 at limitless level, concealing its presence in the darkness. Hearing this, both Ding Chongfeng and Su Zhi's expressions changed. How can there be so many mysteries? Su Zhi couldn't help but speak. When did Beijing become a nest for mysteries? Never mind that, let's get Fang Mo and leave here quickly. Just as Ding Chongfeng was about to rush toward Fang Mo, the latter immediately retreated backward, seemingly determined to keep his distance from Ding Chongfeng and the others. "You all need to leave quickly." Fang Mo's expression was extremely serious. "These mysteries are all coming for me. If you stay with me, you'll only be surrounded by them." Whoosh! From the corner alley, another cold glint flashed out. The second pool-level mystery that had been hiding and ambushing Fang Mo struck again. This time Fang Mo clearly saw its true form. It was a small demon holding a crossbow. The tip of the bolt emitted a chilling gleam, aiming straight for Fang Mo's throat, but this time Fang Mo was prepared. He gracefully avoided the bolt and stepped back several paces. Just as he was about to make a move, the concrete ground beneath him suddenly burst open. A black shadow shot up from underground like a shark drawn to blood, opening its ferocious mouth wide, violently biting toward Fang Mo's injured arm. Fang Mo's pupils contracted slightly. At that moment, an invisible force field suddenly appeared, locking the black shadow shark in midair, and just as its teeth were about to touch Fang Mo's arm, it was forcefully slammed back to the ground. Dust flew up. Fang Mo turned to look and saw Ding Chongfeng raising his right hand, making a grasping gesture in the air, giving him a helpless smile. "Looks like we couldn't leave even if we wanted to." On top of the storefronts on both sides of the street, one mystery figure after another appeared, almost all emanating auras of river level and above. The surrounded 4, Fang Mo and the others, were all new recruits at pool level. Under the encirclement of these river and even sea level mysteries, they were like fish on a chopping board, helpless to resist. "We're gonna die, we're gonna die." Su Zhi's face was completely pale as he spoke bitterly. "I should have gone to hit on someone earlier. At least I could have died as a romantic ghost." Su Yuan beside him couldn't help but roll her eyes at him. But immediately after, she seemed to sense something and made a slight sound of surprise, turning to look toward the other side of the road. Tap 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 tap. Snowflakes fell silently on the dark street, and the previously extinguished streetlights on both sides suddenly began to mysteriously light up one after another. A pair of boots stepped on the thin snow, making slight creaking sounds. A man wearing a military coat, holding a straight sword, slowly walked through the snow and wind. With each step he took, the extinguished streetlights on both sides would flicker and light up, casting his shadow on the snow. The ghostly light gradually engulfed the entire street, and an overwhelming netherworld aura spread rapidly, making people feel as if they were in the underworld, giving them the illusion that life and death were beyond their control. Such strong life fluctuations, Su Yuan muttered. Faced with this strange and powerful presence, Fong Mo and Ding Chongfeng, who were closest to him, had completely frozen. The netherworld aura churned on the surface of their skin, making them feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. Who is this person? This question simultaneously appeared in both their minds. The captain of the Beijing team? No, that's not right. He doesn't match Li Jinjin's description. While the two were puzzled, the figure in the military coat had already walked through the snow to their side. Qin Han reached out and gently patted their shoulders, his lips curling into a smile. Relax, young ones. As his words fell, their rigid bodies suddenly softened, and the churning netherworld aura around them disappeared. At such close range, Fong Mo caught Qin Han's scent and, seeming to realize something, opened his eyes in shock. This was a divine agent of Dixia. Moreover, he was a divine agent who had inherited a complete divine realm from a god at their peak. Back then, after Yang Jian led the 12 miracle children up the mountain, 12 golden shadows flew out from the heavenly court, respectively taking them as agents. After that, the 12 agents jointly became disciples under Yang Jian, training in the cave. It wasn't until then that Fong Mo learned that the 12 golden shadows that flew out from the heavenly court were the divine souls of the 12 golden immortals of Dixia who had not yet fully awakened from reincarnation. Because the 12 golden immortals had not fully awakened at that time, like Xiaopinga and Qinmai in the past, they could only use certain mediums to bestow their power to their agents. So from a certain perspective, the Dixia golden immortal divine realms they inherited were incomplete. But Qin Han was different. When Qin Han was chosen as an agent by the king of Fengdu, the king had already completely returned from reincarnation and recovered his peak abilities. He was a complete Dixia god who could directly transfer his power to Qin Han even without using mediums. This method of inheritance was more complete than that of Fong Mo, Qinmai, and the others. So, in a sense, Qin Han was actually the first complete divine agent of Dixia. In the ghostly street, Qin Han's gaze swept across the surroundings, and divine might surged forth from his narrowed eyes. Above the heads of all the mysteries lurking on this street, semi-transparent flames simultaneously appeared. The higher the level of the mystery, the more vigorously these flames danced. Similar flames also appeared above the heads of Fong Mo and the other three. Ding Chongfeng looked up at the translucent flame above him, confusion appearing in his eyes. It's the flame of life. Su Yuan looked at the translucent flames jumping everywhere on the street and spoke in disbelief. These flames are the visualization of life. Su Zhi stared at his own flame for a moment, then his gaze fell on Fong Mo's head, slightly startled. But why does he have two flames? Ding Chongfeng and Su Yuan were both stunned, looking up at the flames above Fong Mo's head. Above Fong Mo, two translucent flames were burning simultaneously. One was thumb-sized like the others, while the other was as large as a fist and pure white, radiating terrifying light and heat. Fong Mo looked at the two life flames above his head and fell silent. Oh. Qin Han seemed to notice Fong Mo's anomaly too, raising an eyebrow, then as if realizing something, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. So you are? Qin Han stopped mid-sentence, shook his head and walked toward the other side of the street with his knife. Snow and wind swirled. Qin Han scanned the surroundings, his eyes growing deeper with darkness. He slowly raised his straight knife and casually slashed through the air. Whoosh! On the dark street, the life flames burning above the heads of 8 pool, river, and sea-level mysteries, flickered like being gently blown out, then fell into silence. 8 mysteries instantly lost their vitality. Life vanished in an instant. After making the slash, Qin Han calmly turned his head, looking toward the last boundless level mystery hiding in the darkness. Actually, from Qin Han's angle he couldn't see this mystery's form at all, but in his eyes he could clearly see the life flame burning above its head. This one glance made that boundless level mystery tremble with fear. Qin Han's figure flashed, his military coat racing across the snow, his boots stepping on the accumulated snow yet leaving no traces. In an instant he appeared before that boundless level mystery. As Chin Han approached, the concealment power around that mystery completely shattered. The dark light fell, illuminating the mystery's true form. It was a fierce horse wrapped in deep green flames. As the horse was about to flee, Chin Han pressed down with his hand, and dark iron chains extended from the shadows, instantly binding its body. He stomped hard on the ground, leaped up, and a blade light flashed from beneath his coat, precisely striking the base of the life flame. Whoosh! With a soft sound, the horse's vitality dissipated along with its extinguished life flame. The horse's massive body fell heavily to the ground with a muffled thud, snow flying in the lamplight. Chin Han calmly sheathed his straight knife at his waist and looked around. This area is cleared. The places further away are more troublesome. After hesitating for a moment, Chin Han walked to the horse's corpse. At this moment, those iron chains extending from the netherworld still firmly bound the horse's corpse, not dispersing. Chin Han extended his right hand into the horse's corpse, his fingertips carefully stirring as if searching for something. Finally, Chin Han's right hand withdrew from the horse's corpse, holding a gray light cluster that was emitting a faint glow. Mysteries have no right to enter reincarnation. Disperse now. Chin Han squeezed his palm, and the gray light cluster shattered and dispersed into points of light in the air. I'm requisitioning your corpse, he added quietly. Chin Han looked down at the horse's corpse at his feet and snapped his fingers lightly. Snap. A dark flame bloomed above the horse's corpse, replacing the position of the original translucent life flame, burning silently and eerily. The horse's corpse suddenly rose from the ground, stiffly standing in the snow. The next moment, two dark flames ignited in those hollow eyes, like a horse of the netherworld resurrected from death, standing quietly before Chin Han. Chin Han shook off the remaining flesh and blood on his hand, disgust appearing on his face. Looks like next time I should wear gloves. He grabbed the netherworld horse's mane with one hand, lightly jumped up and mounted its back. Nearby, Fong Mo and the others who witnessed the entire process stared with shocked eyes. Killed a boundless, with one slash and then rode its corpse? Su Zhi spoke in disbelief. Isn't that too extreme? Can you not say such disgusting things? Su Yuan glanced at him with disgust. Life and death are like toys in his hands, Ding Chongfeng muttered. Who exactly is he? The dark streetlights gradually dimmed, and in the falling snow and darkness, a figure wearing a military coat rode a black horse, slowly approaching the four. Suddenly the black horse's hooves paused. Chin Han, riding on its back, seemed to sense something, frowning as he looked toward the space between distant high-rises. There a twisted mannequin was rapidly approaching like a cockroach. Its aura was incomparable to those previous small fry. It was a Klein-level mystery that had been hiding in Beijing for a long time. Even mysteries of this level are being attracted here, Chin Han frowned and muttered. A moment later he turned and said to the four standing in the snow. You should leave now. Fighting against a Klein level, Chin Han would definitely not be as relaxed as before. One small mistake could involve these four recruits, and being so weak, they certainly couldn't survive in a Klein level battle. Fong Mo and the others exchanged glances, all nodded and quickly left the street. Seeing this, Chin Han withdrew his gaze and turned to look toward the end of the road. Whoosh! An eerie shadow fell from above, like a four-legged spider, quietly crouching in the dark snowy ground. The mannequin's neck twisted slightly, its black wig flying backward in the cold wind, its pale hollow eyes staring fixedly at the man wearing a military coat and riding a warhorse before it. He was puzzled. That man's aura had disappeared. So who was this man before it? Chin Han held his knife with one hand, riding his horse across the path where Fong Mo and the others had left, his eyes calmly watching the monster before him, thick netherworld energy spreading out from him as the center. Snow fell. A monster, a military coat, silently confronted each other in the snow for a moment before charging toward each other. On top of the high-rise building, Lin Chia, who had watched the entire battle, slowly opened his eyes. How was it? Xiaopinga asked with a smile beside him. His strength is beyond what I imagined, Lin Chia couldn't help but sigh. Compared to when I knew him before, it's like night and day. Everyone has their own opportunities and growth. Just like a few years ago, who would have thought that an unknown high school student from Tsangnan City would become the captain of a special team? Xiaopinga patted Lin Chia's shoulder. Captain Xiao, please don't tease me. Lin Chia's gaze fell in the direction where Fang Mo and the other three had departed, his eyes flickering with light. What? Worried about your soldiers? I feel something isn't right about this. Lin Chia spoke thoughtfully. The recent mystery disturbance should be related to one of my students. Hearing these words, surprise appeared in Xiaopinga's eyes. He didn't have Lin Chia's wide-range spiritual perception. His way of understanding the battlefield was only by monitoring the aura of those mysteries, so he didn't know how this was related to Fang Yamo. So what do you want to do? Bring him over and protect him? No. Lin Chia thought for a moment and shook his head. Growth always involves some hardships. Being too protective isn't good either. Even if we protect them, it shouldn't be too obvious. I'll quietly follow them. Don't intervene unless absolutely necessary, Xiaopinga earnestly advised. This concerns whether Qin Han can take over this city. If your presence is exposed, we'll have failed completely. Don't worry, I won't be exposed, Lin Chia smiled slightly. Carrying the black case on his back, he took a step forward, and his crimson figure instantly vanished into the night. The four quickly moved through the deserted streets, only stopping to catch their breath after confirming they were far from the battlefield. Meanwhile, unnoticed by anyone, a shadow from the night sky descended and merged with the shadows near them. Fang Yamo, what happened back there? Ding Chongfeng took a deep breath and couldn't help asking Fang Yamo, who was walking at the back, why did all those mysteries gather together? Su Yuan and Su Zhe also turned their heads simultaneously. Fang Yamo was silent for a moment before honestly explaining. My constitution is special. My blood has a fatal attraction to most mysteries. Once exposed to the air, it draws the attention of mysteries within several kilometers. The more blood flows, the stronger this attraction becomes and the wider it spreads. A bitter expression appeared on Fang Mo's face. In previous battles I've been wounded before, but the scent of blood only attracted 1 or 2 weak mysteries. I didn't expect the mysteries in Beijing to be so densely distributed, with so many powerful ones hidden within several kilometers. During the past few years, Fang Yamo spent most of his time training in the mountains, and even when he came down for experience he had never been to Beijing. In other cities, even if he was wounded and bleeding, it would be good to attract just one mystery within several kilometers. In places like Tsangnan, only 3 or 4 mysteries would appear in a year, at most reaching the Chuan level. But the density and level of mysteries in Beijing was no joke. Hearing this, Su Zhe suddenly realized, no wonder mosquitoes and such always bite you. So you're like Tang Xing. Smack. Su Yuan slapped Su Zhe's back. We're discussing serious matters here, can't you be more serious? Ding Chongfeng nodded thoughtfully, his gaze falling on Fang Mo's injured arm, where messy bandages tightly bound the wound, preventing any blood from flowing out. Yet even so, blood continuously seeped into the clothing. His brows furrowed tightly. Your wound hasn't been properly treated, just forcefully binding it won't work, Ding Chongfeng said seriously. If we let the wound continue to deteriorate like this, you might lose your arm. Fang Mo's pale lips pressed tightly together. I can't unwrap it, or who knows what monsters it might attract. Perhaps we could go to the distant suburbs, Su Yuan suddenly spoke. The suburbs. The distribution density of mysteries is related to population density. The more densely populated an area, the higher the possibility of mysteries appearing and the stronger they'll be, Su Yuan explained. While Beijing's center might indeed hide many mysteries, the distribution should be relatively sparse in the suburbs. Even if there are any, their levels won't be as terrifying as what we just encountered. The 4 of us together should still have some fighting chance. After speaking, Su Yuan glanced at the innocent-looking Su Zhe beside her and twitched her lips. Oh? I mean the 3 of us. Su Zhe, so I'm not counted as a person? Isn't this too risky? Fang Mo frowned. You don't need to get involved. What kind of talk is that? Ding Chongfeng reached out and patted Fang Mo's back, smiling. It's not certain death. If we're too scared to take even this much risk and just watch our companion become disabled, what kind of night watchers would we be? Besides, I haven't trained for a day and my hands are getting itchy. Having some enemies to practice on isn't bad, Su Yuan said coolly. turning her head to glare at Suja. You're itchy too, right? Ah yes. My sister is right. Suja squeezed out a smile. Then it's decided. First we'll go to a nearby pharmacy to buy some medicine, then head to the suburbs to treat Fong Mo's wound. Ding Chong Fong slapped his thigh. Let's go. Fong Mo stood frozen looking at the three people before him. He looked down at his arm, a bitter smile appearing at the corner of his mouth as an inexplicable warmth rose in his heart. Ding Chong Fong put his arm around his shoulder and quickly led him away. White snowflakes danced in the night sky as an invisible bond quietly connected them together. After they had gone far, Lin Chia's figure slowly emerged from the shadows of the street. He looked in the direction they had gone, a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Looks like this break was worth it. His figure flickered, becoming one with the night as he silently followed them. Boom! A huge explosion erupted from the distant street, with billowing smoke rising slowly. Xiaopinga stood alone on top of the high-rise building, gazing towards the direction where Qin Han was battling the mystery, and let out a long sigh. A complete Daxia divine relic. I wonder when I'll meet that person who can upgrade my white impermanence back to divine relic status. Xiaopinga shrugged. Although Xiaopinga was the proxy of Daxia's King Yama, like Fong Mo, he obtained divine power through certain mediums when Daxia's gods hadn't fully awakened, only reaching the level of ultra-high-risk forbidden relic. Now that all Daxia gods have returned from reincarnation, as long as he can find the King Yama who granted him the relic back then, he could fully obtain the power of the divine relic, and his white impermanence would also ascend to the divine relic level. After Daxia gods return to Daxia, some ultra-high-risk forbidden relics will evolve into divine relics. When more proxies of Daxia gods appear, there will be more divine relics. It seems the Nightwatcher's forbidden relic ranking will need major revisions soon. The intelligence department folks will be quite busy. Xiaopinga felt somewhat schadenfreude. Compiling and revising the forbidden relic rankings has always been the intelligence department's job. Although one or two new forbidden relics appear every year, it's not a big deal for the overall ranking, so the rankings are usually updated every 3 years. Xiaopinga calculated that it had been less than 2 years since the last ranking update. However, with the war breaking out and Daxia gods returning, the forbidden relic rankings would likely undergo earth-shattering changes, forcing the intelligence department to start collecting materials early to re-evaluate the rankings. Xiaopinga's gaze fell on the distant sky, where rays of sunlight pierced through the black night sky, illuminating one corner. Dawn was approaching. This sleeping city would soon awaken, and at that time, many ordinary people would take to the streets, beginning to prepare for their busy and fulfilling New Year's Eve. But now the mystery disturbance was just beginning. If these ordinary people were allowed to move freely, the mystery stirring in this city would cause massive casualties among them. It's my turn now. Xiaopinga narrowed his eyes. He walked to the edge of the building, sat down next to the snow-covered ground, leaned against the wall and slowly closed his eyes. Snowflakes fell on his cloak and cheeks, turning his eyebrows white. He lowered his head as if falling into deep sleep, letting the snow pile up on his body like a snowman. An invisible forbidden relic spread out, and in that instant, an almost imperceptible boundary pressure leaked out. Half-step to human ceiling. Beijing City in someone's home. Just as a corner of the sky began to brighten, a crisp alarm sound rang by the window. A middle-aged man fumbled to turn off the alarm and wobbled up from bed. After a moment's pause, just as he was about to get up, an inexplicable drowsiness surged in his mind again. The man had no resistance at all, his eyes rolled back and he collapsed back onto the bed, falling into deep sleep. He had a dream. In the dream, a man wearing a dark red cloak, looking drowsy, was yawning while telling him to turn left out the door, go down the stairs and take shelter in the parking lot below. In reality, the man lay briefly before suddenly sitting up from bed, quickly putting on his slippers, and rushing like an arrow towards the downstairs parking lot. His eyes remained tightly closed, and even as he ran wildly, slight snoring could be heard. Not just him but everyone in the building, the entire district, even the whole of Beijing City except for the night watchers, was pulled into a mysterious dream state, and then in a sleepwalking state began taking shelter in an orderly and extremely rapid manner. These shelter locations varied. Some went to civil defense shelters under their buildings, some to attic rooms, some to sturdy wardrobes in their rooms, and some in remote suburban areas simply hid under their blankets and fell into sweet dreams. During their evacuation, these residents perfectly avoided all locations where mystery was hidden or active, as if an invisible hand was guiding their direction. From entering the dream to sleepwalking and getting up, to the entire city completing evacuation, it took less than 20 seconds. The moment Xiaopinga closed his eyes, Beijing City fell into a collective dream. This was the true power of the half-step ceiling level, white impermanence, and the real strength of Xiaopinga, captain of the Beijing Nightwatcher team. Black impermanence cuts life and takes souls. White impermanence enters dreams to collect souls. Dawn's light filtered through the wild mountains on the outskirts of Beijing, falling on the remote land. Ding Chongfeng carried a medicine box, rushing through the silent village with Fang Mo and the others, approaching the foot of the wild mountains. Su Zhi, panting and trailing at the back of the group, seemed to notice something and let out a light exclamation, rubbing his eyes hard. "What's wrong?" Ding Chongfeng asked alertly. "Did you see a mystery appear?" "No." Su Zhi stared blankly towards the village. "I think I just saw a villager in pajamas run out of their house and dive straight into a pigsty." Ding Chongfeng. Su Yuan couldn't help but reach out and pinch Su Zhi's waist, twisting it 180 degrees. "Is this the time for your jokes?" "Huh." Accompanied by Su Zhi's screams, Fang Mo raised his head and sniffed the air. There's no scent of mystery within a kilometer. The mystery distribution should be very sparse around here. Then this is the place. Ding Chongfeng bent down, opened the medicine box, took out a series of wound treatment medicines and tools, and looked solemnly at Fang Mo. "Unwrap it, let's finish this quickly." Fang Mo's other hand grabbed the cloth tightly bound to his arm and loosened it bit by bit. As drops of blood seeped out onto the ground, a strange fragrance spread. The Su Yuan and Su Zhi siblings, who were fighting with each other, stopped simultaneously and turned to look at Fang Mo. "It smells so good, really good." Su Zhi couldn't help but speak up. "No wonder those mosquitoes all bite you, it smells so good, I want to take a bite too." "You pervert, stay away from Fang Mo." Su Yuan kicked Su Zhi's buttocks. Ding Chongfeng unusually didn't intervene in the siblings' bickering. He seriously watched as Fang Mo slowly unwrapped the cloth, and when the wound was completely exposed to the air, he quickly took out medicine from the box and began carefully applying it. Blood trickled onto the ground, and a rich, strange fragrance drifted away with the sweeping east wind. Hidden nearby, Lin Chia raised his eyebrows in surprise when he caught this strange fragrance. Such a fragrant scent, what kind of bloodline could it be? Lin Chia muttered to himself. If he wasn't mistaken, this fragrance on Fang Mo must be related to the medium she used when becoming the agent of the great Xia god. As Xiaopinga said at that time, for the not yet fully awakened great Xia god, only by using certain media as tools could they transfer their power to their agents. When Xiaopinga obtained White Ghost, the medium she used was the Yanluo temple. Besides that, any item or creature could serve as a medium: a jade rui, a sword, a pot of medicine. The medium Fang Mo used when becoming an agent must be the source of this strange fragrant bloodline. Coming to such a remote place to heal is indeed a smart decision. Lin Chia lifted his head, looking at the direction where the strange fragrance was drifting with the wind, his eyes narrowing slightly. "However, your luck doesn't seem to be very good." The quadrangle courtyard. Early morning sunlight poured through the window, shining on the white bedsheet. Li Jinjin opened her drowsy eyes and sat up in bed. She stared blankly at the blanket covering her and the familiar surroundings, taking several seconds to realize that this was no longer the training camp, and she didn't need to get up early for morning training. She lay back down in bed, planning to enjoy a rare chance to sleep in, but after tossing and turning she couldn't fall asleep. She had already developed the habit of waking up early, and even if she tried to sleep now, she couldn't. Li Jinjin lay in bed with her eyes open, watching the gradually brightening sky outside the window, when a doubt suddenly arose in her heart. Isn't today New Year's Eve? Why is the city still so quiet at this hour? Is nobody planning to celebrate the new year? Just as she reluctantly got out of bed to prepare to wash up, a crisp phone ring sounded, showing an unfamiliar number on the caller ID. Li Jinjin hesitated for a moment before answering the phone. "Hello. Hello. Is this Jinjin?" The voice on the other end was somewhat urgent. Su Yuan. Li Jinjin immediately recognized Su Yuan's voice. Why are you calling me so early? Are you done playing mahjong? Forget about mahjong, we're in a bit of trouble right now. There are mysteries appearing near us. Could you call some members of the Beijing City team to help us? Su Yuan's voice was extremely serious. In trouble? Li Jinjin frowned, not wasting time asking what happened but directly asked, where are you? Su Yuan gave a remote address, which was a wild mountain in the outskirts of Beijing. I got it, wait for me. Li Jinjin quickly got dressed, grabbed her black case and rushed out of the room. At this moment 2 or 3 members of the Beijing City team had already gotten up and were busy preparing breakfast in the kitchen. Brother Lu. Li Jinjin ran quickly to the kitchen door. New mysteries have appeared, come with me quickly. In the kitchen, Lu Hu and Zhang Jingting exchanged glances, both seeing the complexity in each other's eyes. They certainly knew what would happen in Beijing today, and they also knew there were many mysteries outside, but they were equally aware that at this crucial moment, they couldn't go out to kill mysteries. As Lu Hu was organizing his words about to speak, a girl in a white dress floated in from outside. Li Jinjin's phone automatically transmitted Jiang Er's voice. Jinjin, Instructor Lin sent you a message. A message from Instructor Lin? Li Jinjin was slightly stunned. Jiang Er extended her hand, pointing at the phone in her palm, and a message was silently transmitted to Li Jinjin's phone screen. Seeing the line of text on the screen, Li Jinjin was first stunned, then looked at Jiang Er in surprise. Instructor Jiang, did Instructor Lin really send this? Jiang Er nodded with a smile. He wants you to go quickly. Oh, okay. Li Jinjin hesitated for a moment but chose to believe the content of that message. Instead of dragging Lu Hu and others along, she rushed out alone, started the car and roared towards the suburbs. In the suburbs, Wild Mountain. How's the situation? Ding Chongfeng asked with furrowed brows while applying medicine to Fong Mo. 5, pool, level 3 river, level. The closest one is less than 500 meters from us now. Su Yuan spoke seriously. I've called all the numbers I remember, but at this hour, it seems only Jinjin was awake. She should be bringing people over now. I don't know if we can hold out until then. A minute ago, shortly after Fong Mo's blood was exposed to the air, Su Yuan sensed several pool-level mysteries and 1 river-level mystery approaching this location. For them, this lineup of mysteries was quite troublesome, so Su Yuan had to make emergency calls for help. The first person she called was Li Jinjin, who lived at the 006 squat station. Just contacting Li Jinjin meant they could notify the Beijing City team to come to their rescue, and their crisis would be resolved. Damn, how are there 3 river-level mysteries hidden in such a remote place? Ding Chongfeng cursed under his breath, put away the medicine bottle, took out bandages and began quickly wrapping Fong Mo's arm. You should leave first. Fong Mo looked at everyone with a complex expression. I'll distract their attention briefly, then find a chance to escape. You're injured, how could you possibly escape from so many mysteries, attacking you alone? Ding Chongfeng shook his head. Jinjin will bring people soon, we just need to buy time. Fong Mo pressed her lips together, remaining silent. Ding Chongfeng skillfully finished bandaging Fong Mo's arm, quickly stood up and said to the Su Yuan siblings, Su Yuan, which direction has the weakest life wave from the mysteries? Southeast. Let's go break through that way. These mysteries were surrounding them from all directions. If they just stayed put, they would eventually be trapped with all escape routes sealed off, then be surrounded and killed by the 3 river-level mysteries. So the best method was to keep moving. As long as they didn't leave this wild mountain area too far, when the Beijing City team arrived, they could still quickly find them. The 4 people moved without any hesitation, rushing towards the southeast, which was the direction up the wild mountain. From the silhouettes of the dense forest, 2 pool-level mysteries came charging out, roaring as they crashed towards them. Su Zhe, who was at the front, saw 2 pool-level mysteries flying towards them. Just as he was about to draw his sword to fight, a hand firmly pushed him back. The black-clad girl Su Yuan glanced at him and calmly said, "Let me take the front." As her words fell, Su Yuan drew the straight sword from her waist and stared directly at the 2 mysteries, her eyes blazing with fighting spirit. Her figure moved like an agile black swallow, instantly surpassing Su Zhe, and engaged in battle with one of the mysteries, while gripping her straight sword. Although Su Yuan's forbidden domain wasn't combat-oriented, this didn't prevent her from completely suppressing the mystery, with her exceptional combat talent, armed with just herself and her sword. Just as the other mystery was about to bite Fang Yimou, an invisible force field emerged, grabbed its ankle and violently threw it into the nearby forest. Ding Chongfeng lowered his right hand as the psychic energy waves around him gradually dissipated, and decisively said, "Don't look back, keep rushing forward." The four briefly broke through the blockade of the two mysteries, and directly entered the complex terrain of the forest. Two river-level mysteries suddenly increased their speed and are chasing us. Su Yuan, who had just shaken off one mystery, exclaimed as if sensing something. Everyone's hearts skipped a beat. At their current level they could handle one river-level mystery together, but if two attacked simultaneously they couldn't possibly resist, especially with other lower-level mysteries harassing them. Su Ji turned to look at the mountain peak, where a giant steel-spiked porcupine and a headless man wielding two blood-colored decapitation blades were rapidly approaching. Once these two mysteries entered the battlefield, the four present would have virtually no chance of survival. "This is bad," Su Ji muttered. Seeing this, Fang Mo's eyes showed a brief struggle before seemingly making some determination, voluntarily loosening a corner of his bandage. A sweet blood scent wafted from his arm wound. Upon smelling this, Ding Chongfeng and others were stunned. Then, as if realizing something, Ding Chongfeng stared at Fang Yimou with wide eyes. "Fang Yimou, you..." Before Ding Chongfeng could finish, Fang Yimou stomped the ground hard, transformed into an injured white cat, and rapidly fled from the three, rushing towards the depths of the mountain. The two approaching river-level mysteries immediately changed their target, following Fang Yimou closely, and most of the mysteries surrounding the three also withdrew. Sacrificing oneself to actively draw away the mysteries, giving other team members a chance to survive. From the shadows of a large tree, Lin Chia, wearing a deep red cloak, slowly materialized and muttered, "Let me see what potential you can display in this life-and-death struggle." After confirming that Ding Chongfeng and the other two wouldn't be in danger, Lin Chia's figure flickered as he quietly followed Fang Yimou. In the dense forest, a white cat was rapidly fleeing through the branches. Behind it, two enormous beings crashed through the woods like tanks, advancing with low growls. Though the white cat was agile, it was still slower compared to them, and the gap between them was gradually closing. Feeling two fierce winds howling from behind, Fang Yimou knew escape was impossible and decisively jumped down from the branch onto the snowy forest ground. The soft cat paws left two long marks in the thick snow. Its snow-white body bristled as its heterochromatic eyes fixed firmly on the approaching mysteries, revealing unprecedented madness. Since escape was impossible, the only option was to fight for survival. It slowly opened its mouth. The next moment, what emerged from its throat wasn't a cat's meow, but a deep and sharp tiger's roar. Roar. The wilderness forest trembled slightly, and numerous birds took flight from the trees. That small white cat in the snow took a step forward, its form rapidly expanding. In less than 2 seconds, it transformed into a huge white tiger nearly 2 meters tall. Powerful muscles bulged beneath its snow-white fur, and its smooth, gleaming whiskers began to flash with an ominous cold light. It was never a cat, but rather a miniaturized, heterochromatic white tiger. Its two bewitching eyes, one yellow and one red, stared at the two mysteries with a soul-shaking power. On its forearm was a savage wound, with fresh blood flowing continuously, releasing an exotic fragrance several times more potent than before. Seemingly oblivious to its wound, it let out another low growl and charged through the snow with its massive body, leaving trails of afterimages. It crashed head-on into the steel-spiked porcupine. The porcupine's sharp steel spikes left several bloody holes in the white tiger's body, but simultaneously, a huge tiger paw slammed down from above, smashing its head heavily into the ground. The mountain trembled once again. In the distance, Lin Chia watched the heterochromatic white tiger fighting with the two mysteries, surprise appearing in his eyes. One of the 4 divine beasts of Great Xia, the white tiger? So this is the medium through which Fang Mo bears divine power. Lin Chia recalled the 2 flames of vitality above Fang Mo's head earlier, and understanding dawned in his eyes as if realizing something. The divine domain is carried by the white tiger, making it symbiotic with Fong Mo. No wonder his blood can attract those mysteries. The white tiger bloodline, as one of Great Xia's top 4 divine beast bloodlines, inherently contained extremely pure life force and divine charm. This blood was a fatal attraction to mysteries, which were special species of a lower life level. Such bloodline would be an extremely powerful aid for a divine-level white tiger, but in the hands of Fong Mo, whose own level was low, it became a death warrant. Especially after reverting to white tiger form, the purity of its divine beast blood increased again. Although it could barely fight the 2 mysteries at its current level, its attractiveness to other mysteries had reached a terrifyingly high level. Lin Chia could clearly sense that dozens of kilometers away from this mountain peak, large numbers of high-level mysteries were rushing here like mad. The training should end here. He could feel that Fong Mo in white tiger form couldn't hold on much longer. Letting him continue bleeding would only attract more mysteries. Lin Chia narrowed his eyes, about to do something, but his raised hand stopped mid-air. He made a slight sound of surprise and turned his head toward another part of the forest, where a one-eyed youth with 6 dark red wings on his back and a straight sword in hand was rapidly approaching.